FBI finally confirms to the public that they did indeed find a note. But what did that note say?
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? The FBI is dropping information like it's hot right now. It is absolutely crazy. We got the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, in an interview dropping all kinds of new details. Everything that links more evidence to Tyler Robinson, the one who pulled the trigger on Charlie Kirk. And again, I know there's a lot of people that are asking a lot of questions, and I have a lot of questions too. But nonetheless, this is the evidence and this is the information that they are saying. And of course, they're trying to find ways to connect this man, this assailant, to this tragedy. One thing is for sure, we heard through the grapevine that allegedly Tyler Robinson left a note behind, or at least wrote a note and then deleted it later on, or something of that sort. And now we're hearing that from the director of the FBI, Kash Patel. We got an article to look at. We got this video. We're going to be looking at a couple different things. But nonetheless, this is very, very interesting and possibly could give us a motive. Maybe? Let's find out. So again, he apparently wrote a note. And what we hear later in the interview, that apparently Kash Patel said that they found it. So I guess they were able to retrieve it. You know, they do their digital hoodoo voodoo, okay, their technical digital, witchcraft, whatever they do in these computers to find those old deleted things. Apparently, he wrote this letter. Tyler wrote a letter basically saying, I have an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Now, I'm wondering what else was said in this note, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what else was said in this note. But let's take a look at this, okay? This is very interesting. So Charlie Kirk's alleged, assailant, Tyler Robinson, wrote a note saying that he was going to take out the conservative commentator before he, of course, pulled the trigger. And this, of course, is being said by the director of the FBI, Kash Patel. He said in this letter or in this note, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it, the note read. Okay, so the note was written before this tragedy, and it was in the suspect's partner's home. We have since learned the note, even though it was destroyed, so he deleted this note. They really didn't say whether or not the note was digital or if it was if he wrote this out like handwritten, but it gives me, we're getting the idea that maybe he wrote this letter or this note digitally, and that's how they were able to retrieve it. That's just my personal opinion on it. You never know. He could have ripped it up and thrown it into the trash, and then they found it. God only knows. But I think this is a digital note that he left behind. But they say, even though it was destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what the note said because our aggressive interview posture at the FBI. So in other words, Lance Twiggs, his roommate / lover, partner, whatever you want to call that particular person, all right? That person's singing like a canary. That's it. This person is saying everything, okay? No holds barred. So that's what I think. Because they said that Tyler is refusing to cooperate with law enforcement. Why would he suddenly crack now? This is all coming from Twiggs. Twiggs is out here going, that's my man. And yeah, he did all that. That's what I think. Okay. So Patel didn't clarify whether the note was handwritten or digital or how it was recovered. That's one thing I'd like to know too. But, we'll find out over time. Now, we already know that this guy was taken into custody late Thursday night. All right. In connection to the unaliving of course, Charlie Kirk. So Patel also revealed that the DNA, his DNA was found at the spot where Kirk's, where he pulled the trigger, where he allegedly pulled the trigger, as well as on the towel that covered the weapon that was discarded in a bush when he tried to, kick rocks, when he tried to run. Okay. Now, that's again, they found DNA in various areas. Most importantly, the towel that's wrapped around the actual weapon. And I know some people are going to sit there and go, well, it was planted, bro. Maybe it was. But then again, maybe it wasn't, right? Patel confirmed that Robinson is not cooperating with investigators following his arrest on Friday. And Robinson was finally taken into custody after he was persuaded by his family to turn himself in. Okay, his father had him talk to a pastor after he confessed to his father that he was the one who indeed pulled the trigger. So again, if he was like the fall guy, why would he confess to his father and then go to his pastor and confess to his pastor if he was the one who didn't do it, right? So again, like I said, I got questions just like everybody else. So as of Sunday, yesterday, investigators were still piecing together information about the suspect and not yet ready to discuss a potential motive. And I don't know. The motive right now, I'm feeling right now, is that maybe this was a very demented, messed up love letter to his partner. Maybe this is his way of trying to say, like, I don't like what happened, or, I don't like this guy either. My love for you is greater than whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this was a strange love language move. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But again, there still is no complete answer on why this guy did what he did. I still want to know, why would this guy do what he did? Allegedly. But let's get on. Let's move on here. All right. So we got the interview with Kash Patel. He gives us more information in this interview as well. So we're going to hop around and take a look at a few clips here. So let's take a look at this, okay?
Positively processed for the suspect in custody.
So, Mr. Director, that is vital. That is breaking news and vital information, because now you have the casings for the gun. So you connect the gun. Now you got his DNA on it. That's huge. But I also want to get to another part of
I just got to interrupt. Sorry, I just got to interrupt. We have the DNA on the screwdriver that was found on the rooftop and the towel that the firearm was wrapped in. The firearm itself, this is a great point. Thanks for raising it.
Yeah, no problem.
That is being processed by ATF Laboratories in Maryland, and I believe they'll speak to that at a later date when their process is incomplete. But I just want to let you know the FBI handled the screwdriver and the towel found on the scene.
That is important clarification, Mr. Director. I want to get to the 20 members in that group chat. Have they been brought in for questioning? And the group chat that from our reporting that we're hearing is from after the assassination. Do you have the messages from before the assassination?
Well, let me take a step back and tell you what we were doing while we were there and how we were led to the suspect so that this all fits into the puzzle. As soon as we learned of the shooting, we were able to, I think Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 local time on September 10th. By 12:39 p.m. local time, FBI assets were on scene securing the scene. We then launched at 10 a.m. the next day the first images of the suspect. Myself and the deputy arrived at 5 p.m. local time on September 11th. And then what we did was decided to have a press conference at 8 p.m. local, where we issued for the first time FBI obtained video footage that we seized from the security camera surveillance system and new images, enhanced images. I decided to release immediately to the public because we were working with the public and the media to find this killer. Shortly after that 8 p.m. release, at 10 p.m. local time, the suspect was in custody. Why? Because the father informed us, pursuant to an interview of him, that he looked at the video that we released that evening and the enhanced photos and identified the suspect. That's how fast the FBI was working to put out information in real time. And for comparative sake, the Boston bombing, the FBI didn't release images for 3 days. We know we didn't have 3 days. I made an executive decision on an investigative and operational need, and it turned out to be the right move because the men and women of the FBI said that's what we should be doing.
Now, what's interesting about that is, of course, yes, this is a moment where police went to the public and basically said, here's some enhanced photos of this guy. Here are some security cam footage stills of this guy. Please, if you see something, say something. And then, of course, the father was able to say, oh, my Lord, I see that looks a lot like my kid, which caused him to go to his son and go, hey, Tyler, were you at this event? Where, of course, eventually his son confessed. Without that actually happening, this manhunt could have lasted longer, okay? Could have gone on for a little while, trying to pinpoint who this person is and where this person's at. Without that actually happening, we'd be in a completely different timeline right now, which I'm very, very happy about. Of course, this is the moment where we all should be, this is where the police and the public should be working, in unison, especially when it comes to such a big situation. This is the same thing with missing person cases, etc. That's just what I truly think. So again, I'm happy that they did what they did, because without that move, they'd still be possibly scratching their heads about this whole situation. But I want to continue on, and because of course they said they were able to link the DNA on the towel, on the screwdriver that they found on the roof, which I guess he forgot to take that screwdriver with him when he ran, but they were able to take those two things and connect the dots to Tyler. But also, you got to remember, if Tyler truly confessed to his parents and to his pastor, I mean, that's a piece right there. Now that he's locked up, he's not cooperating anymore. Don't know why, but again, nonetheless, I really do think that they have their man. But we'll see what happens here. Anything is possible. You also got Lance Twiggs, his partner / roommate, who's also saying things and going, hey, yeah, he was on these, on Discord or on these chat room platforms, chopping it up, making fun of the situation, having this, that, and the third. I mean, it's very interesting. One thing is for sure, though, I am kind of curious about what was there any letters or any notes before the tragedy? Was there anything that he said in a letter or in writing that gives us some insight on a motive on why he did what he did? Now, the FBI is going to be doing their thing, but also I will say this. If Tyler kept a lot of these things on the hush and he didn't tell his partner, which I think is still very wild, that the partner didn't know, then it might take some time, because the only person that would know this information is actually Tyler. Because again, if he's holding that information to himself, we can't read his mind. You know what I mean? So if he's being incooperative or uncooperative, okay, then this might be a long journey. But here's another part here I want you guys to hear.
I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Now, again, I want to know what else was being said. What was said in this note, aside from him saying, I saw an opportunity and I took it? I want to know. I think we all want to know what the heck's going on here, right?
So, Mr. Director, I'm curious, and there has been some criticism, so I appreciate you coming on our program and discussing it with our audience. Can you tell us what was happening on the ground? Apparently, according to sources, you weren't getting some information, you requested photos, and you were being stonewalled. Now, I think it's important to note there's always some sort of tension between local cops on the ground and the feds. They want to handle their own investigation, but of course, with an investigation of this magnitude, you have to step in, you have the resources. But can you explain, was it the local field office, was it the state police? What was going on?
So the local authorities have been fantastic. Okay. The local sheriff, the state PD have been wonderful. And any investigation, as you hinted to, of this magnitude has so many people in it, because I'd made the decision to search so many resources. And to get the information up to me was of the utmost priority. So I worked with my team to say, hey, there's not going to be any delays. We're not going to do it the way we normally do things. So the only thing that people were doing at the FBI was how they knew how to do things. I had to expedite that process. That's my job. That's what I thought this case deserved. And that's what this case was rightly calling for. So I made the tough calls. But I wasn't critical of anyone in particular. I just said, we got to move faster. And that was my call to make. And if there's any criticism there, you can put it right here.
Who wasn't giving you information, Director? Who wasn't giving you the photos when you requested them quickly and it didn't make it to you? Who denied that order?
It's not a denial of the order, just to clarify. I'm glad we're talking about this. The photos were produced. They just weren't produced in a timely fashion that I felt was appropriate for an investigation of this magnitude. So I came in and I accelerated that process.
Ah, okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like he's like, okay, there's no stonewalling. I just wanted to get the information out faster, and they weren't working fast enough. And I get that. I get that. You got a man on the loose, an assailant on the loose. He just did something absolutely horrific and terrifying. And that is still somebody who could be a threat to the public. So, yeah, I'd want to get those things expedited and get those things out as quickly as freaking possible. So if they were dragging their feet, I'd be like, yo, chop it up. Let's go. You know what I mean? Pick up the pace. At least that's just my personal opinion. But again, guys, you know, we are hearing about these notes, or we're hearing about at least a note that was written before the actual tragedy. But again, they're only giving us pieces of the information. And it may be because of, given if it was ripped up or deleted, maybe that's all that they were able to retrieve, maybe fragments of this note that he wrote allegedly before this situation. I don't know, but I am kind of curious about motive. Why did he take it? He had an opportunity and he took it. Why? And I think a lot of us are wanting to know that as well. But again, guys, we'll see as time goes on. You know, this case just keeps barreling forward, and there's more and more twists and turns and breaking news pieces of information that just keep coming out. It feels like almost every hour. So keep an eye out, an ear out. We'll be talking about a lot more as this continues to barrel forward. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. And we'll talk here very, very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.